In this alternate timeline, Germany's strategic decisions lead to crucial victories. The turning point occurs in 1942 when the German Wehrmacht successfully captures Stalingrad, cutting off Soviet supply lines and forcing the USSR into a humiliating peace treaty. With the Eastern Front secured, Germany redirects its military might towards the West. The D-Day invasion is repelled with devastating losses for the Allies, leading to a withdrawal of American and British forces from continental Europe. The British Isles, isolated and bombarded, eventually capitulate, and a puppet government is installed in London. Europe, under the Third Reich. With Europe firmly under Nazi control, the Third Reich implements its vision for the continent. The brutal occupation regimes are enforced, with the SS overseeing mass deportations and the continued genocide of Jews, Romani people, and other groups deemed undesirable. Cities are transformed into showcases of Nazi architecture, with grandiose buildings reflecting the regime's ideology. The Germanization of Europe proceeds as German language and culture are imposed upon the subjugated populations. Resistance movements are crushed with ruthless efficiency, and collaborationist governments maintain order under Berlin's watchful eye. The expansion of German military might. Germany's military machine continues to evolve and expand its influence. Following their victory in Europe, the Germans turn their attention to solidifying their power. The Wehrmacht is not just an occupying force, but also a modernized, highly efficient military entity. The development of advanced weaponry becomes a priority. Tanks, aircraft, and naval fleets are upgraded with cutting-edge technology. The infamous Panzer divisions, already a formidable force during the war, receive enhancements with more powerful armor and weaponry, making them nearly invincible on the battlefield. The Luftwaffe, having played a crucial role in the initial successes, undergoes a transformation into the most advanced air force in the world. Jet fighters like the Messerschmitt Me-262 become the standard, giving Germany air superiority. Long-range bombers are developed, capable of striking targets across the Atlantic, thus putting even the distant United States at risk. The Atlantic Wall and beyond. The Atlantic Wall, initially conceived as a defensive measure, is fortified further, becoming an impregnable barrier against any potential Allied resurgence. Coastal defenses are equipped with the latest artillery and radar systems, ensuring that any attempted landings by Allied forces would result in catastrophic losses. Submarine warfare, a cornerstone of German naval strategy, is intensified with the introduction of advanced U-boats that are quieter, faster, and capable of longer deployments. These submarines patrol the Atlantic, severing supply lines and exerting control over the seas. In the Mediterranean, German and Italian forces secure key territories, extending their influence into North Africa and the Middle East. The Suez Canal falls under Axis control, disrupting Allied supply routes and providing Germany with direct access to oil-rich regions. This consolidation of power in strategic locations ensures the Axis powers maintain a stranglehold on global trade and resources. Germany's dominance extends beyond Europe. In the Middle East, Rommel's Africa Corps secures vital oil fields, ensuring a steady supply of resources for the Reich. Japan, Germany's ally, solidifies its hold over East Asia and the Pacific. The United States, having suffered severe losses, adopts a policy of isolationism, focusing on defending the Western Hemisphere from potential Axis expansion. The Axis powers carve up the globe into spheres of influence, with Germany controlling Europe and Africa, and Japan ruling over Asia and the Pacific. In this grim reality, the Nazi regime accelerates its technological and scientific programs. Werner von Braun and his team of rocket scientists develop advanced missile technology, leading to the establishment of a Nazi space program. The atomic bomb, however, remains an elusive goal for the Reich. Nonetheless, the regime's investments in technology result in significant advancements in aerospace engineering, jet propulsion, and even early computer science, albeit often at the cost of human lives in brutal labor camps. The Nazis' commitment to technology also leads to the development of the V-3 and V-4 rockets, capable of reaching far-off targets with devastating payloads. This newfound capability shifts the balance of power, making Germany not just a dominant terrestrial force, but also a looming threat from above. The space race is transformed into a space dominance mission, with the Third Reich aiming to establish a permanent presence in orbit and beyond, claiming the final frontier for their ideology. Despite the overwhelming power of the Third Reich, resistance persists. Underground movements in occupied countries continue to fight for freedom, conducting sabotage operations and disseminating anti-Nazi propaganda. In the United States, a Cold War-like scenario develops, with the US and Axis powers engaging in espionage and proxy wars around the globe. The threat of nuclear conflict looms as both sides race to develop atomic weapons. Resistance fighters, although severely outmatched, manage to create pockets of defiance. Secret networks across Europe coordinate efforts to disrupt German supply lines, assassinate key officials, and inspire hope among the oppressed. In occupied territories, partisan groups wage guerrilla warfare, making the Nazis expend resources to maintain control. These acts of defiance, though often met with brutal reprisals, keep the spirit of resistance alive and demonstrate that the human desire for freedom cannot be entirely extinguished. The legacy of a German victory in World War II profoundly impacts future generations. The narrative of history is rewritten, with Nazi ideology permeating education and culture. Textbooks glorify the achievements of the Third Reich, while the atrocities committed are either downplayed or outright denied. Young generations grow up in a world where authoritarianism is normalized, and democratic ideals are seen as relics of a failed past.